How to knit the Zig Zag Openwork stitch, English style.
For this tutorial, you will need a pair of knitting needles
And a ball of yarn. Special thanks to our sponsor Imperial Yarn for providing today's yarn. Today we are using their native twist line in the color Tufted Primrose. For this stitch you'll need to know the following techniques. Knit, knit two together, make one. To begin this stitch you must cast on in multiples of 2 plus 1. Alright, so just a quick note before we get started with this pattern. Because of the way we make this stitch pattern, we're not going to be counting our rows after row 2 and row 4. We're adding stitches, and so it's not going to be the right number of stitches. So if you're someone who counts your stitches after every row, don't count them after row 2 and 4. Row 1. We're going to begin by knitting 1. Then we're going to start our repeat by knitting 2 together, and we will continue knitting 2 together until the end of the row. Row 2. We're going to begin by knitting 1. Then we're going to do a make 1 to start our repeat. Now there's a lot of ways to make 1. We could pick up the stitch in between these two stitches to make 1. We could pick up the stitch below, but that's a knit 2 together, so that's probably not going to work very well. So our best option here is probably to do a yarn over. Now normally when we do a yarn over, we're going to come from the back and then come over the top of our stitch like this, but that's going to leave our stitch twisted around the wrong direction for the next row, so we're actually going to bring the yarn around to the front first and then come over to the back. Then we're going to knit 1. So a lot of people think that yarn over is just for lace and making a big hole, but we've actually added a stitch here, which is what a yarn over is actually. It's adding a stitch. Usually you just would knit it together to get rid of it, but in this case we're going to use it as an increase. So a lot of people don't realize that that's what a yarn over is. It's an increase. So we're going to just continue making 1 and knitting 1 until the end of the row. Row 3. We're going to knit 2 together and start our repeat. And we're going to continue knitting 2 together. Now, because we are knitting together the yarn over and the knit 1 that we had, it's going to be a little bit tight, so just be careful when you are getting your needles in there to knit them together. And then we're going to continue doing this until we reach the last stitch in our row. Alright, and when we reach the last stitch in our row, we're just going to knit 1. Row 4, we're going to actually repeat row 2, so we'll start by knitting 1, then we're going to do our make 1 by bringing the yarn in front and over, and then knit 1 again, and we're going to repeat this sequence until we reach the end of the row. So repeat rows 1 through 4 until you've reached your desired length. And that's how you knit the Zig Zag Openwork stitch. Want more New Stitch a Day? Check out our website at newstitchaday.com.